My name is Juan Carlos Fierro. Each week I explore the most pressing issues of our time, bringing you thought-provoking discussions and eye-opening revelations that will challenge what you thought you knew. Prepare to have your perspective challenged. Juan Carlos Fierro, fearless, factual, and unfiltered. We have today Eddie Garcia. He's running for the U.S. Senate for the state of Virginia. Welcome, and if you can just introduce yourself.
Well, thanks for having me, Juan Carlos. My name is Eddie Garcia. I'm running for the United States Senate across the entire Commonwealth of Virginia here in 2024 in a Republican primary right now, but in hopes to run against Senator Tim Kaine, who's a career politician here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm a 22-year Army veteran. I got 6 combat deployments. I finished my career in the Pentagon working with the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate on federal policy for our veterans, on our military, for Gold Star families. I got a degree in federal legislative affairs from George Washington University, and now we're running for federal office because when you come from a working class background like I come from, to see working people struggling further behind today than 22 years ago in America, in the most prosperous nation in the world, while everybody else has gotten so much richer and so much more prosperous. Something's got to change. It's time for a change in Washington, D.C. It's time for a conservative movement that comes from the people, not at the people. So I'm running for the U.S. Senate.
I thank you for that introduction, and that's one of the things that resonates with me, that you are running to change things. You just don't want to be part of the swamp, basically. And I am very happy that you are running. I am very proud that you're running. And I hope that, that you win the primary and you can move on to the November election. One of the things I would like to know is, how are we going to get rid of that awful senator that we have in Virginia, Tim Kaine?
Well, we get rid of Tim Kaine by speaking the truth. We stand next to him, and we are everything. We have to be everything that he's not. So while he's an old and tired man, I have to be young and I have to have a lot of energy. While he caused all these problems that we see overseas, in our schools, in our military, I have to have solutions for those things. I have to talk about how we reprioritize our money, focusing on Americans, how we give school choice to our parents so they can choose how, when, and where they educate their kids, the money for themselves to homeschool if that's what they choose. We got to talk about eliminating taxes on our seniors. So our seniors can stay in their homes, so our veterans can find homes and get off the street, so our school system can be a little bit better for the people who need it. We got to be everything that he's not. While when I stand on stage next to him, we have to have a clear contrast that shows that guy represents the past, and Eddie Garcia and his campaign and his followers represent the future. He represents Virginia 1994. And my campaign represents Virginia 2024. It looks like 2024. It sounds like 2024. It's built for 2024. And we have a movement of young people, of veterans, of the conservative base, of new Americans, of minorities that have come here legally, that want to achieve the American dream, that want a country to be proud of. That's why they came here. That's why their family came here, so that their kids can prosper. Somebody they can be excited about, to support. I believe I'm going to be that guy. And if we do that, if we're that clear picture to what he offers and to what we promise, we'll win. We'll win because the people will support it.
Why do you think it's important for Hispanic Americans to get involved in the political process? As you know, yes, everybody's busy and everybody gets, they need to, to work to take care of their family. But at the same time, I think it's very important that they get involved either in their local community, in their local politics, or, nationwide. And that's why one of the things I think we are seeing at this time, that the Hispanic American, the African Americans are supporting more President Trump.
I'm glad you phrased it that way, because I phrased it that way on the campaign trail. What we see nationally is we see African Americans and we see Hispanics, to what you're saying, walking away from Democrats because Democrats have left them culturally. They left them on all those cultural issues, and they're walking away. And they're walking away sometimes, most of the time, to Donald Trump. They're not walking away to Republicans. They're not walking away to the conservatives. They're just walking to Trump because he's the one who speaks to their issues. We have to have a party. If we want to have a party, a Republican Party that is successful in the future, we have to take the Hispanic community seriously. Nationally, the Hispanic community is 20% of the population. That's more than any other population. 20%. 51% of all new people into this country are Hispanic origin somewhere. So that's 51%. So we're growing so fast. 74%, 3 out of every 4 new hires, new employees are Hispanic. We're the future workforce. We're growing at a rate that no other demographic is growing. If the Republican Party, who already aligns culturally, already aligns spiritually, already aligns with family values, if we don't have an economic message for them, if we don't have a plan that keeps jobs here so that their kids can get them when they get out of high school, if we don't have a plan to get a quality education to our children, to specifically these low income, working class Hispanics that are mowing grass, that they're landscaping, they're bricklaying, they're janitors, they're window washers, they're bartenders, right? We're doing all these jobs, but we don't want to stay doing those jobs. We want our kids to work inside. We want our kids to be doctors and lawyers too. We want our kids to be businessmen as well. We want our families to succeed. We have to have a message. The Republican Party has to have a message, which means we have to talk to them, which means we can't be scared. You got to get in there and relate authentically with this population. It's too big to ignore. That's a huge part of my campaign. In Virginia, 11% of the population are Hispanic from all backgrounds. I mean, I talked to Cubanos and Venezuelans and Hondurans and El Salvadorans. Soy Chicano Mexicano, right? We come from all over, but we're here in America and we want to succeed. We want to be a part of the system. We want the jobs and the opportunity that everybody else has, that have come here, that have struggled, and now have risen, have the ability to rise. America provides that. But we have Washington, D.C., that's getting more and more control. And we have a Democrat Party that wants to keep Hispanics in a little box so that they can use it when they want. And that party, the Democrat Party, keeps telling Hispanics, keeps telling Latinos, you don't have to speak the language. Don't let them make you speak the language. My message is the exact opposite. My grandfather knew that if you're going to be an American, if you wanted to achieve something great, if you wanted to have a job that you could be proud of, you're going to have to speak the language. You're going to have to get a good education. You're going to have to work hard. And when these Democrats tell you that you don't have to do those things, it's because they want to keep you cutting their grass, watching their kids, and cleaning their bathrooms. And that message is just not a message anybody else can give. I think as a Mexican-American here who served my country for 22 years, I have no problem telling Hispanics across Virginia the same thing that I just told you on camera. We have to prioritize this group of people who are already with us in church. These are people who go to church on Sundays, faithful people, hardworking. Everybody knows that. Hardworking people want to put into the system, want the opportunity. We got to have a party for them, because if we don't, they're just not going to vote, or they'll sit out this year, this election, or they'll go vote for Donald Trump for the presidency, but they won't be paying attention to who's running for Senate, who's running for Congress, who's running for school board, who's running for board of supervisors. Because they're not paying attention that much, and most people aren't, regardless of background. So we got to get them engaged. We got to say these are the values that we hold dear, and we align with you, and we're going to stand with you. We're going to stand with you to keep your jobs here and keep jobs in America so that you stay employed. We're going to stand with you to make sure that your landlord doesn't discriminate against you, so that they don't try to run you away, so they can make the place nice and rent it out to people with more money. We're going to hold property owners accountable when they have bed bugs like they do in South Arlington and Alexandria. We have a lot of low-income Hispanic communities that can't afford to go anywhere else because they can't afford to live anywhere else because it's just so expensive. Rents are so expensive. And these property managers, these property owners are taking advantage of that. They're not doing their maintenance. They're not keeping their buildings up to code, and they want these low income people to leave so that they can make it nice and rent it to people with more money. We have to have a message for those people. I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with them and fight for their rights for housing, fight for their rights as workers to be paid what they're owed, just like everybody else. Republicans historically haven't wanted to do that, and I think that's why they struggle right now. But I'm a different type of Republican. I'm a Garcia Republican, and I think we're going to do just that.
What are your thoughts in reference to immigration? Why you think that the border is wide open with President Biden? He has not wanted to close it. Since day one, he has changed everything that President Trump did. And I think that that's the wrong message. And it's not only immigration. We have other problems. We have drugs, we have human trafficking. And so what will be your position in the Senate?
First things first, border security. My number one priority at the federal level, number one, above anything right now, is securing the border. Because the border security has so many other effects, other things that it affects. One, we don't know who's coming in. There are people, and these aren't just Latinos. These people from Iran, from China, from India, from all over from Haiti. There's just tons of people coming in. We don't know who they are. So on a safety aspect, we need to have border security. 1,300 miles of border wall that President Trump asked for in 2017. Congress didn't give it to him, including a Republican Congress. Republicans had the Senate and Republicans had the House, and the Republicans fought against them. That's why it's important that we have the right candidates that go and represent us, so that we're in the U.S. Senate, they'll actually do the things we want them to do. Then we also need to legislate these policies. Right now, the laws, I believe, are outdated, which is why when Donald Trump is in office, he can say remain in Mexico. He can say we're not going to do asylum. He can say we're going to do whatever. And then as soon as Joe Biden comes in, because it's not in law, it's just executive order, then Biden gets rid of it, and then he does whatever he wants to do. And it's a mess. If we pass laws that say no one will remain in America while they seek asylum, we can do that. And then that's the law. Now everybody has to obey it. Right now, it's just executive policy. We need to increase the number of asylum judges. So right now, there's about 600 asylum judges. So when somebody crosses the border to a port of entry, they say, hey, I'm here for asylum, because that's what they're told to say. They get immediately paroled, and they get a ticket to be back in 4 years or 5 years or 6 years at some court date. They're not coming back, right? It's so long from now, they're not coming back. So we need to increase those asylum judges. So instead of 600, we need about 2,000. We got to reduce the backlog from 5 years, 6 years down to 4 or 5 months. We need to understand the people that are here. If they qualify for asylum, they should stay because they're truly seeking asylum. If they're not qualifying for asylum, they got to go back. That's just the rule of law. There's no other way around it. We also need to reform our immigration system, and our immigration system is very complex. My wife is a naturalized citizen. We went through that immigration system in 2015. She was born in Uruguay. Now she's an American citizen, but it took many years. It took a lot of money, and it's confusing for an American. Imagine how difficult it is for somebody who immigrates legally and then is trying to become a citizen or trying to bring their family. It's a nightmare. So we got to make it easier to bring in the people that we want. We got to make it easier to keep out the people that we don't want. And we need to prioritize those. We need doctors. We need nurses. We need medical practitioners. We have 1,000 counties in America that do not have a primary care manager. So there's 1,000 counties that people have to leave the county in order to go see a doctor. Who does that affect? Poor and seniors. People can't drive 50, 100 miles to go see a doctor. There are a lot of problems, and these problems exist because Washington, D.C. has allowed them to exist for 30 years. It's time to have new leaders who want to solve these problems. I believe I'm that guy.
What is your position in lowering taxes? And the question I ask is because, yesterday was a tax day. I would like to know what is your position in lower taxes? Why should we lower taxes?
We got to lower taxes on the middle class. We got to in the working class. I mean, we got to lower taxes as low as possible for the people who do the most work. We give so much money away in tax rebates and tax cuts and credits and subsidies to the people who have a lot of money. The corporations who have a lot of money. They get a lot of breaks. They get a lot of money back from the government. They get a lot of subsidies. I say we have a government who does a whole lot for people who already have a whole lot. And it does very little for the people who have very little. So we have to make it easier for people, regular people, to live, work, and raise a family. That means putting money into their pockets so that they can pay their bills. I mean, I went to Five Guys the other day, a burger and fries, nothing special, $18.50. I mean, the prices are out of control. We see seniors are being priced out of their homes. We see veterans that are ending up on the streets. We have kids in college or just graduated from college, even with their degree, can't find a place to live because things are so expensive, especially in Northern Virginia, especially in Virginia Beach and some of these highly populated areas. We got to reduce the taxes on the people that need the help. And those people that need the help are working class people. So when we talk about taxes, that's where we got to start to reduce. We got to start reducing it for them. And we got to stop spending and cut all the loopholes for all the other, millionaires and the billionaires that pay nothing. And if we reduce the loopholes, we make the tax code simpler and more favorable to working people, I think we'll have a better economy and we'll have a better functioning government. And it's more fair.
One of the things that I am always shocked by is that we send money all over the world to everybody, and yes, we need to do that. But most of these, first of all, the money doesn't get to the hands that they need the money. They stop, at the government at the highest level. Therefore, they don't get where they need to go, and So that's one of my concerns is that we should take care of the people here in the States first, that they need a lot. There's because of inflation, because of the economy. Things have got very tough, and there are a lot of people, a lot of families going through some tough times. What is your position in reference to foreign aid?
Well, I agree with you. We give way too much money everywhere else. And this is the frustration that people feel. That's why you feel it. And it's the same frustration I get from people all across these small towns and rural communities that I'm going to. We see with our own eyes. We see with the budgets that the American government has no problem. DC and the politicians have no problem sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine for a war that they cannot win, and lives lost for a war that they should have never even been in. We spend billions of dollars to China, or billions of dollars to India, billions of dollars to Africa, all these places all around the world. But when we have programs here, when we have seniors here that can't afford that to keep their house because the taxes keep rising, when we have veterans who are suffering from mental illness, they can't see a doctor in the VA because the VA is too slow, when we have people with disabilities, they can't find facilities or have them facilities built for their disabilities. There's never any money. Some reason Washington will always tell you we have to cut the SNAP program. That's what their answer is going to be. The SNAP program, which provides free lunch and free breakfast for kids who live in poverty. We have people. I grew up on that, Juan Carlos. I grew up in the SNAP program. My mom was raising me as a single mom, and I got free lunch and free breakfast. 2 of my meals came from school, and this is the type of program that costs about this much money that the government, that Republicans in D.C. Will come after. They'll come after that, but they won't come after all that money we spend to Ukraine. For them, for that, it's fine, and for us, it's bad. We have to reverse it. One of the things I mentioned, I forgot to mention on taxes, is I've pledged to introduce a bill to eliminate taxes on our retirement account. because I don't believe that if somebody does the right thing, they work for a living, they save, they invest. Your IRA, your 401k, your 403b, if you're a military retiree, you did that time and you're getting that money, your Social Security that you put into, and now it's time to take it. I don't believe any of that stuff should be taxed. You're on a fixed pension, you're 65 and older. I don't believe you should be taxed on the things that you did right in this country. Instead, we wait till you're on the fixed pension. We wait till you're a senior and you can't do anything else and it's hard to work. And then they say, you know what? When you take your retirement, we're going to tax it. I think that's wrong. We got to limit. And at the same time, we see our seniors ending up in nursing homes, which there aren't even enough nursing homes, but they're ending up in nursing homes. And then the government then comes in and they take their homes, they take their cars, they empty their bank accounts, they strip them of their life insurance, they leave them with nothing. And it's just not right. It's not right the way we do our seniors compared to the way we do the people who have a lot of money and that are connected in Washington. That is the sole purpose of me and my campaign, is we got to start doing what's right for people, not what's right for the politically connected.
I agree with your response. And so we can move on. You said at the beginning that you were 22 years in the Army. What will be the response from Israel to Iran's attack this weekend?
Well, I'm not sure what the response for Israel will be. I would say my response as a United States senator is to watch Israel's response and support them in the defense of their nation. We were not attacked on October 7th. On October 12th, the Israeli government came out and they said they didn't want foreign troops. They didn't ask for American troops. To this day. They haven't asked for American troops. And I don't think we should send American troops. I think that Israel knows best how to defend their nation. I believe they know who their threats are and where their threats lie. They sure know more than we do in that area. I think that we need to help support the defense of their nation. Just the other day, if anybody saw those videos that were taken of the Iron Dome, over 200 missiles came in from Iran. Iran said they launched them, so I don't think that's speculation. They launched all these missiles intent on harming and killing Israeli civilians, just indiscriminately targeting, sending missiles across the border. Iron Dome is a program that the Israelis have. It's a missile defense system. Americans help fund that system. That's a good thing. The American dollars into the Iron Dome saved lives just the other night. How many? We never know, because they shot down all those missiles. That's the type of support we should be giving. I think all of us should be able to agree that Israel has a right to exist. They have a right to defend their families. And after October 7th and the brutal massacre of their citizens, children, women, and all the gruesome stuff that took place, they have priorities on their hands to get after the people who caused such atrocities. They're going to pursue it the way they're going to pursue it. I think we need to support the defense of Israel in the way that we have been, and not send any of our troops in harm's way, because Israel hasn't asked for them, nor do I think we should anyway.
Moving right along, and I understand that you're in a primary, but I would like to see if you can address the issue that came up this past week in reference to one of the candidates, Han Cao, that his PAC was raising money and not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So if you can address that, if you want to address that, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll address it briefly. And I only know what the report shows, what the article shows. So if anybody watching or listening to this, I'd ask you to go look that up. But yeah, disturbing news. One of my opponents, according to the reports, essentially started a political action committee in order. Well, the pretense was that he was telling people he was going to raise money for Virginia state candidates, people running in 2023 for the Virginia state offices. So school boards, board of supervisors, House of Delegates, Virginia state senators. And that was the pretense to that. And then once the money was raised, according to the reports, that money didn't go to any of those candidates. And so I don't know all the details. The article is lengthy, My only concern is that the American people know, or the people of Virginia, the voters of Virginia know who's running for office and what type of person they are, what kind of character they're going to bring to the office, how are they going to work on behalf of the citizenry that elect them. And I believe in full transparency. So I try to be as transparent as possible. I do a lot of media. I do a lot of social media. I put out everywhere I go, and I record all my talks, so there's no ambiguity on where I stand on different issues. I would encourage all of my opponents to do the same. That way, the American people know, or the people across the Commonwealth know, that when you say something in a private room, that you're willing to say it in a public room. And if you're not willing to do that, then maybe you shouldn't be trusted when you're behind those closed doors in Washington, D.C. It's very important to me that people know exactly who I am, and that's why transparency is important. And I issued a statement on this briefly, which essentially is encouraging Mr. Cao to be fully transparent and answer to these allegations quickly and in detail, because we have an election and people need to be informed, and that's important. And so I think that's about all I'll talk or have the space to talk about him.
What do you think about the performance of Governor Youngkin so far, with the Senate and also the House is not in our side, and but what do you think? I think that you think he's doing well. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So I would like to know, what are your thoughts in reference to that?
Yeah, well, being the governor of Virginia with a House delegates and a state Senate that are Democrat controlled is not an easy position to be in. And so I'm a whole lot happier with him in office than I would have been with Terry McAuliffe in office. And so I think he's working his hardest to try to bring conservative values and try to pass conservative legislation with having to work with the Democrats on both sides. So it's not going to be easy. He's probably doing as best as he can, or anybody else would be able to do it in that scenario. I mean, he's trying to bring jobs back to southwestern Virginia. He's trying to expand some opportunities in the modular reactor fields, in nuclear technology. I talk about that too, nationally speaking. Yeah, he's trying to cut taxes on middle class families, and I approve of all of those things. And so, are we going to get what we want? Everything, of course not. But I think that he's doing as good a job as anybody else is going to be able to do in that position. We can't shut down the state government. We got to pass a budget, and so we're gonna have to figure it all out. I trust him for the job.
Our time is almost up, and I just wanted to see, who will you pick? Will you support the nominee of the Republican Party for president? And please let me know what's in your mind.
Donald Trump is going to be the nominee. I support Donald Trump in this process. I never thought there was going to be another challenger to him. I voted for the president in 2016. I voted for him in 2020. I voted for him in the primary this year. I'm going to stand shoulder to shoulder with the president and try to help him win Virginia. I say that President Trump can win the presidency and still lose Virginia, but I can't win the Senate and lose Virginia. And so my focus is going to be 100% on defeating these other Republicans in the primary, who are Washington establishment, bought and paid for type of politicians, and beat them with this grassroots bottoms up movement that I got going on. And then they're going to stand shoulder to shoulder with the president and laser focus though on Tim Kaine. That is who I need to beat. That is who we need to get out of office. We need a Republican Senate that can support the president when he gets in there and pass an agenda that is for us, for working Americans, not just us being Republicans, us being all Americans. We need a government that works for all of us. Right now, we got a government that works for just a few of us. It's just a few lobbyists and lawyers and fundraisers in D.C. It's time for something different. And my message has been consistent, and it will stay that way. I'm working for the working people of Virginia. If we have a blue-collar, bottoms-up, working-class movement that's going to shock the system in D.C. From a political outsider, without the D.C. endorsements and connections, Washington's going to have to take notice. When we win it, we're all going to be proud, and we're going to show that it can be done. Money doesn't rule everything. The people have the last word. And and if I have more people that show up and vote for Eddie Garcia, regardless of their background or their race or their color or their creed or ethnicity or the language that they grew up speaking, when we show up to the polls and we beat them, there ain't nothing they can do about it. And now I get a chance to work for the people of Virginia, not for the rich men north of Richmond.
Thank you very much, Eddie, for joining me today. And I'm looking forward to keep following you. And I wish you the best of luck. And, I hope that you come back, after you are selected in the primary. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you for joining me on the podcast this week. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep being fearless, factual, and unfiltered. I am Juan Carlos Fierro, and I will see you in the next episode.